What's up, fellow filmmaking friends? Josh here with Runningscaredmotionpictures, and I'm beyond excited because today with me I have
Kris Salvi.
Kris. It's great to have you today, man.
Nice to see you again, man. Can I shake your hand? Yeah,
absolutely.
There we go. Yeah.
Thanks for making the trek down. So
thank you. Welcome back.
Yeah, you know, it's the episode 3. Episode 3, we're here. So I got to talk to Kris, who is the film festival runner for the East Hampton Film Festival first.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And now, what do you fancy yourself as? What do you do out there?
Everything. I don't know. Like I said before, I'm whatever people need me to be.
Jack of all trades.
I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I don't know. When I was younger, I thought I was more of a writer. You know what I mean? Because I started off going to school for writing and filmmaking and doing screenplays and stuff. And then later on, I found acting. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. In my heart of hearts, I want to say like, oh yeah, I'm a screenwriter. But then in my heart of hearts, I want to say I'm an actor. But then in my heart of hearts, I want to be like, oh, I'm a director. So I don't know. I'm whatever mood I'm in at the time. You know what I mean? Some days I'm more of a director than I am an actor, and some days I'm more of a actor than I am a director.
I think that's going to be a common occurrence we're going to see with a lot of the guests that I have on here. It's like I mentioned in the first podcast, like I wear a lot of hats here as well. So it's not uncommon. So you got into the craft from writing though.
Yeah. I went to school for filmmaking and screenwriting, and I shot a lot of my films on 16 millimeter. And then from there, I graduated. I was asked to leave college. No, when I left college, I started doing more acting. I took an acting class in college with my buddy Justin Tebow. Found out I really liked acting, thought it was really interesting. I had done some acting prior to that, like in theater in high school and stuff like that. And I was part of a theater guild. And I liked it. I liked acting, but I didn't realize like how much I really, really enjoyed it until I took an acting class. I took acting 1 and 2. And then after college, I kind of researched acting more, studied a lot of books on like Stanislavski and Uta Hagen and Meisner and all those guys, you know what I mean? And kind of put directing down, kind of didn't really do a lot of directing, but I still did a lot of writing though. I still did a lot of screenwriting. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's how I kind of got into it.
Now, you sent me 2 of your short films. Now, are those your recent works or?
Those are my 2 most recent films that I directed.
Okay.
I got back into really full blown back into directing kind of like prior to COVID. I had made a couple of short films before then, but like come COVID and a little bit after COVID, I started directing a lot more. And after that, yeah, I kind of haven't stopped. Doing it. So those 2 that I sent you, those are my 2 recent ones.
The running theme in both of those they were definitely noir inspired, but I guess it kind of goes in hand because your film production company is called Private Eyes Productions.
Private Eyes Films.
Private Eyes Films. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's
Private
okay.
Eyes Films.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, Private Eyes Films. Private Eyes Films kind of came from, I'm not going to say I put a lot of thought into it because I kind of didn't, but I was looking for something that kind of represented my films as like the kind of films that I make as a whole. First, I thought, I don't know, I had a couple of dumb ones. There was like noir pictures, true crime productions. They were all kind of taken. And I was like, I remember I was thinking Private Eyes Productions, but I was like, nah, I don't like the way that sounds. What about Private Eyes Films? Oh, that sounds pretty good. That up, saw that it wasn't taken. Copy wrote that mother effer, you know, and I feel like that name represents a lot of the tone, I guess, of my films. But I've made some comedies too, but those comedies are kind of gritty as well, I think.
I noticed right off the bat, I would say that both of the shorts that you sent me, I would say are definitely noir inspired.
Yeah.
Minimally.
Yeah.
Horror and psychological elements?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm getting a little bit more into like trying to direct horror. I like horror films. I always thought horror, like I always said cinema started with horror. You know what I mean? You don't have cinema without horror, and I've been trying to get more into it. But yeah, there's some horror in there. There's some psychological, I don't know. I guess I'd call it destruction of the mind. where you're, fucked up shit just kind of happens to you so much that your mind breaks.
That's what's always attracted me to noir. And it's crazy because there's not a lot of people in this area that I feel like care about noir anymore. But for me, it was like the lighting is kind of what hooked me. But I read The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon.
Oh, yeah, Chandler.
Yeah,
Chandler.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
Chandler.
the thing that I liked about it is it's like the thing about noir that hooks me is you have this like typically male character and it's this descent into madness. This female complicates things and we see him right before things change and it just gets much worse for him. Like, I guess technically, I don't know if it's a noir, but have you ever seen the movie In the Mouth of Madness?
Oh, yeah, I certainly have. Yeah,
What a banger.
That's like an H.P. Lovecraft noir, kind of. It has the similar themes, like stranger, drifter in a town he doesn't know, has to solve a case, sort of,
Yes.
the case of the missing writer. So there's a little bit of noir elements in there.
Yeah, like a lot of that inspired me and stuff. And then when I started working with the camera, the only noir that I've really done is I did a early short film called Finnerman's Conundrum, and that was definitely probably the most like noir inspired project I've ever had.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah.
Was that a long time ago, right? Wasn't
probably 4 or 5 years ago. Michael Norman starred in it. He had this awesome suit. We had this really cool vintage car.
Black and white? Was it black and white?
There's a couple black and white clips in there, but it was color.
It was
color.
color.
This man wakes up in a bathtub and like just kind of like, it's probably the most like artistic, not directly story driven thing I've done, but that's what I like about noir.
I like that. Yeah,
you can be abstract.
Yeah.
That's what I saw out of the two films you sent me. They're definitely abstract. I mean,
They
there's a
are.
story
Yeah.
there, but
Yeah. I'm getting more into well, actually, at this moment, I'm kind of I did a lot of abstract work in like 2025. I did a lot of abstract-y style films, and I'm kind of starting to like leave that behind right now. I'm starting work on a feature, which is much more of like a linear story, but it is still kind of a noir, more crime than noir. I always said that noir wasn't a genre; it's a feeling. It's not like there's a lot of movies out there that could be classified as noirs but are not noirs. So like, what is a noir? To me it's a feeling. And the two films that I sent you, Lover Girl and especially Call Me After Dark, I think it fits the noir feeling more than the noir genre, if that makes any sense.
No, it does 100%. And I know what you're saying when it's more of like a feeling. It's a tone. It's like there's a grittiness to it. I know noir when I see it.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things.
But like, would you call like Casablanca a noir? There's a lot of noir imagery in that mother.
See, people get twisted, right? Black and white isn't just noir. It has to have that tone and that style.
Yeah.
If you brightly light something in black and white and there's not a lot of shadows and contrast, it's not noir.
Got to have the shadows.
Yes.
There's a lot of shadows too. Like a movie like The Third Man, Orson Welles. Some people say that's not noir and other people say it is noir. I mean, some people say that like Batman the Animated Series is a noir.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely got noir elements, like a lot of noir elements. Yeah. The trench coat, the fedora, the shadows, most of it taking place at night. Batman is kind of a screwed up individual, you know what I mean? So
listen, Darkwing Duck is absolutely a noir.
That's a noir too.
Let's get dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was a noir. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I always like the style, but again, there's not. I mean, it died out the 40s, 50s, and 60s. There hasn't been a ton of it. I mean, every now and then I feel like we got like Sin Cities and stuff like that.
Sin City, yeah. Or even like The Man Who Wasn't There. Do you ever see that?
I haven't.
That's the Coen brothers.
Oh.
And that's Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton is a barber, and it's all shot in black and white, and I think it takes place in like the late 40s, early 50s. Nice. And he's a barber who gets involved in like an insurance scam. And it's like, got the voiceover and everything and stuff, but he's not like a grizzled detective, and he's not a hitman, and he's not a criminal. He's a barber who becomes a criminal, I guess. I feel like noir films are always tragic tales. They're like the dark side of the American dream.
Yeah. The stories take place in the dark alleyways, and I think of like brick and, street lights and hard cast lighting.
Yeah.
Just that like, and even I guess to some extent, even some of the dialogue, right? Like I think there's some noir dialogue.
There's gritty noir dialogue. I feel like somebody once described noir as like, you are a man who is down on his luck and have just met a woman, and she is going to give you the best fuck of your entire life, and you will wake up in the morning and be framed for her murder, and then you will go to jail and you will thank God for the moments that you had with her. That's noir.
I like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotion in that statement, and it covers a lot of the things in noir.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I can't remember who said it, but that's basically like a feeling. There's a lot of love stories that are like noir. I like to think of Call Me After Dark as like kind of a weirdish love story, but it's a love story told between someone who's alive and someone who's dead.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that. You know what I mean?
The shot of the girl on The Voice with the phone, there's like your lighting and your setup on that was super cool. That was definitely noir inspired.
Yeah, that's very noir inspired and very much kind of stolen from like David Lynch from like Lost Highway, which I classify as also like a neo-noir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not stolen. You steal like an artist. It's
That's
borrowed
right.
and inspired.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they say a good artist will borrow, a great artist will steal. you know?
go,
But yeah, a lot of it is noir inspired.
Nice. Now, you sent me those 2 short films. Now, what cameras did you use to shoot those?
Oh, shit. Oh, man, the DP is going to hate me. Because I think he had a Sony F300, something like that, or Nikon F300, something like that. I can't remember. They were both shot by the same cinematographer. Shout out to Kris D'Annunzio, Creepy Kid Productions. He's in Boston. He's a good director, good dude. He's been here in New England cinema since like the dawn of its inception. So he's a good guy, Kris D'Annunzio. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember what exactly camera it was, but I think it was either Sony, Nikon, something.
The problem is all the cameras now, it's like Mark II. They're all
numbers.
Yeah,
they're all numbers. Like I know the Arri Alexa, I know the Red Dragon, I know the Black Magic pocket camera. I know that. I work with Chris Esper a lot. He uses a Black Magic. I can't 100% say like, oh yeah, this was the camera we were shooting on. When this comes out, I'm sure Kris D'Annunzio will leave an angry comment and be like, no, it was a fucking Nikon, you idiot, you stupid.
Camera people are gearheads. They can get into that stuff. But if you're not a camera person, I mean, it makes sense that you even know. So.
I know how to operate the camera. I just don't know like what the camera is. You know what I mean? Like, I worked in didn't really work in the communications department, but I was there in the communications department, and I knew the difference between 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter. But now with digital, I'm like, it's all the same, and it all looks good. Yeah. I'm a pro digital person. I like digital. Yeah. Film is nice for nostalgic reasons, and it does look really good, but it is kind of a fucking dinosaur. It's just dying.
Speaking of film looking good, I don't know if you've seen it recently. I mean, it just won a ton of awards, but the movie Sinners.
I saw Sinners. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Wow, that movie looks good.
Yeah, that looked good. Yeah, that was
large
good.
format film. Yeah. IMAX.
Was that 70? Was that 70 millimeter? 70 millimeter? Yeah. Yeah, that looked wicked good. Yeah.
I didn't know this. I watched a behind the scenes thing. So on those cameras, you can't record any audio because they're so loud. So everything has to be a voiceover. Yeah.
They had to Fellini it. Like Fellini used to record all his films with like basically no sound, and everybody would have to ADR it later on. We should try doing that. That's like almost like a lost art. Just trying to ADR a whole movie. What a pain in the ass that would be.
I wouldn't deal with film. As gorgeous as film is, it wouldn't be worth the headache for me. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm at the point in my career now where it's like, I've got a couple projects that I'm inspired. I want to make big. I want to make good. But at the same time, I keep looking at these small projects where I'm like, I could shoot that in a day. Yeah. And I could hang out with 5 or 6 different people and make something awesome and turn it out in another day for editing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm inspired to do bigger projects, but I don't know, like, right now, I think I'm still trying to build my career out and really figure out where I want to go in this industry right now.
Absolutely.
I think it makes more sense to work on some smaller projects. Like the rom-com, I've talked about it a few times now, and it's 20 pages long. I love it. It's got, there's some great stuff to it, but like, I don't know if I want to commit to shooting 20 pages. It's going to take me a minimum of 3 days to shoot. Yeah. It's going to be a huge undertaking where the other day I'm driving home from work. I just get inspired. I had like one little scene in my head, and I sat down and I wrote a 10-page, like, kind of little True Detective Pastor in the Woods kind of little banger that
yeah, that's cool.
I could literally shoot that in a day, like one night.
Go for it, man.
That's what I'm going to do, you know? And it's like, again, like the more I do this, the more connections I'm going to make, the more people I'm going to get to work with. So I'm still looking for an audio guy. So nobody's really reached out to hit me up to be
get on this mother's film, all right? You hear me, baby? Get on this guy's film, man, because this guy has been around since the beginning, dude. I remember when he was nothing but a Facebook post. That's all he was, man. But you went out there and you did your shit, man.
I'm still just a Facebook post.
No, man. No, you're not, man. This guy, he's been there since the beginning, dude. You know what I mean? Respect your elders. If you're an audio guy out there, work for Josh. He's good people. He's got a lot of good ideas. You got a lot of unique films too, and that's no bull. You know what I mean? I don't bullshit.
Kris, I got to throw this out there. You did something that I really appreciate super hard, and I don't even know if you know how impactful this was for me. When you had reached out to me after I just started posting again, so I've had like family and friends say this to me, but you're like the first like stranger that I didn't know that said that they were a fan of mine. Like that was super cool.
Really?
Man. Like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was
surprised.
It was just cool to see. Like, you know, I've had people say that they like my work and stuff like this, but nobody said that they were like a fan of my work. And it's just like,
I liked your stuff because you were working with oh my God, what's her name? Was it Nicole? How do you say her? Oh, dude, man, it's like Nicole Ducks. Yeah, I can't. She knows who she is. Where is she now? In Utah?
Yeah,
Utah?
I think so.
She moved to Utah, right? Yeah, I thought it was Colorado, but I guess it's Utah.
Somewhere like that.
Nicole, if you're out there and you're watching, I miss you. I enjoy working with you. She's a really nice girl. But I remember when you were working with her, and I was like, oh man, that's cool that you're working with Josh and shit. I think she was like, oh my God, how do you know Josh? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh man, I've been a fan since day one.
That's awesome.
I'm kind of, I don't know if I should admit this, but I'm going to. Yeah, fuck it. I'm kind of a Facebook kind of like stalker. Creeper, Insta stalker, Insta Facebook filmmaker,
a lot of
stalker, like, oh man, who's doing what? Who did this film? Who did that? Because I feel like sometimes that's how you get the work. And you're like, oh man, I saw your film. I really like it. You know, you seem like you know what you're doing. I'd like to work with you. You know, you got to kind of build connections, as an actor and a filmmaker and stuff like that. You kind of can't wait for the phone to ring.
No, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've both worked with Kayla. I'm gonna mess up her last name again.
Garabedian?
Okay.
Garabedian, right? Right, Kayla? Right? Yeah. Lovely girl, awesome, fantastic person.
Yeah. I already shouted her out in the last episode, but again, it's like she was actually in both of your shorts, and again, like I saw right off the bat her professionalism, her talent. It just shined through.
I commented on your Facebook. I said, she's a force of nature to be reckoned with. She really is. Yeah, she is fantastic. She's great. She's just stellar in everything that she does. You know what I mean? Like, I remember even like during like, I think, because I had wanted to work with Kayla for a really long time. She auditioned for a movie that I did. She didn't get the part, unfortunately. She was a really close runner-up. But I was like, I'm going to remember you. And then I had written Call Me After Dark. And I was like, oh, Kayla will be great for this part. And I worked with her, and her professionalism was just like, it's just out of this world. It was just something you don't see around really anywhere. Just, knew what she was doing, had a lot of character development ideas. And I feel like sometimes, even though that was the first time talking to her and working with her, I felt like she was easy to talk to. Like I had talked to her, like I had known her for years. Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%.
And so, Kayla, if you're out there, we love you. You're a great person, fantastic actress. And hopefully Kayla likes working with me too. Who knows? I know she's not showing up for the money. I know it's not that. It's got to be something else. She must like my scripts. She must. Either that or she's bored. Yeah. She must.
She's hungry. She's up and running.
Yeah. Stupid Salvi's got a script again. All right. Can't say no to stupid Salvi. Right. But no, yeah, she's great. She's fantastic.
Nice. It's awesome that you know Nicole too. She's actually, man, she was one of my favorite people around. I'm kind of bummed that she moved away. Like
I am too.
Yeah, she'd still be doing projects with us.
I
over
only
here.
got to work with her really once in like a movie that kind of like I had to kind of like put on the shelf. But hopefully one day I'll get back at it again. But I only worked with her once, but I thought when I worked with her, I thought she was great.
Yeah, no,
I
she
thought she was
absolutely is.
fantastic.
Well, what I feel bad about is it's like during that time when I worked with her, like Finnerman's Conundrum into like Eddie, like I was getting ready to either leave the fire department or I had just left the fire department. So like
Yeah.
I was a mess. Like I was not the
Yeah,
best me at
no,
all,
yeah,
you know? So it
no.
was like, you know, making art was kind of my outlet. And I ended up like, I made a lot of great connections and stuff, but I wasn't the best me that I could be at the time. Like I was
Sure.
struggling, you know? So it's
Absolutely.
like, I look back at a lot of the people, even Kris that was here in the last podcast from the film festival, like we worked in that project and it was tough. Like I've worked really hard on myself over like the last little stretch, and now I feel like it's the right time for me to come back swinging and doing stuff. So I wish she was still in the area because I'd have her on and we'd be doing some stuff. I feel like at a higher, better level. You know?
No, yeah, she's great, but I mean, not, you know, she's awesome. But there's also, you know, there's a lot of great actors in the area.
That's
but
why I started
everybody
this,
is
yeah.
unique. You know what I mean? Nicole was unique and still is. Kayla's unique. You know, there's a lot of great unique actors out there that I'm unique. A wink, wink for anyone looking for, you know, an actor for a movie. I'm uniquely stupid, but yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of actors are especially around here. You get a mix. I feel like you get a, you know, sometimes, you know, you'll get a good mix of actors and sometimes not a great mix of actors. And you have to kind of be, they say a good director is a good casting director.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can cast your film well, then you've done like 80% of the job.
Well, directing is a big part of what you do. So
Yeah.
I think this will actually be great insight.
Right now it is. Yeah. Right now it is. Yeah.
So you said you've got a feature film going on. What are your focuses right now? Like what are your main goals you're working on right now?
Well, I mean, right now I'm trying to do a feature. It's called "And When I'm Dead," and we follow a female contract killer as she arrives in the big city. It's a nondescript New England city, so it could be, you know, whatever. It could be Worcester, it could be Boston, it could be, you know, fucking A, it could be Manchester, New Hampshire, you know. But we follow her as she arrives in a city to kill a man. She's been assigned to kill a dude, and the guy hasn't shown up into town yet, so she has to wait. And that's kind of the whole movie. It's kind of like her waiting and reflecting on a lot of pivotal moments that have happened in her life, and she remembers a lot of that. So it's not your typical like action, you know, bang bang shoot 'em up. It's a very slow moving picture, and it's going to be all in black and white, and it's going to have kind of minimal dialogue, but it's going to be one of these films kind of like something I guess you would see out of like the late 70s where people take their time talking to each other. Mm-hmm. I was using The Mechanic with Charles Bronson. I don't know if you ever saw that. It's like 1974.
I haven't.
75. I was using that as inspiration. There's no dialogue for like the first 20 minutes of that film as he goes to like go kill a guy. Really underrated hitman film. I'm using that. I'm using a lot of like Jim Jarmusch. Kind of like Ghost Dog. You ever seen Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai?
No.
That's a good film, man. You got to check that out. Yeah, Ghost Dog.
If you knew the films I didn't see, you'd be so I've never saw Scarface. I've never seen The Godfather.
I would jump. What you just said right now makes me want to jump across this table, Pitbull style, and just wrangle your neck. But I mean, I don't know. I'm using I'm just not. That's the thing with filmmaking too. You know, you just can't watch films to make a movie. Sometimes you have to go to like art museums. You know, you have to listen to music, and a lot of the music will inspire you, and paintings will inspire you. Like I'm using a lot of Edward Hopper as inspiration. I always use Edward Hopper. He was a painter. He did a painting, a really famous painting called Nighthawks. You ever see that one of the people sitting at the diner? There's like a guy whose back is to us, and there's like a soda jerk, and it's like really late at night. If you haven't seen this painting screams noir vibes. It screams noir vibes. But I mean, I'm working on that right now. We're trying to work on that. And I think the reason why I'm trying to do a feature right now is just because I spent a long time just really... I mean, it's been years since I made my last feature. I made 3 in college. And I made 1 more outside of college. And I haven't done one since like 2010, 2012. It's been a really long time. So I was like, all right, I made all these short films, and all these short films were a lot of fun. But it's time to kind of get back to like longer form. I'm kind of like the opposite of you right now. Like you're more at the short form storytelling, and I'm more now at the, oh yeah, man, I gotta start telling longer stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just where I am right now. But I cast myself in like a bit part in the movie. I like doing that because that way the director can't tell me no, because I'm the fucking director. So I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yup.
And I can be a loose cannon and no one is there to stop me. So I'm working on that, and I write a little bit here and there. Sometimes I write some scripts where I'm like, okay, this might be something I might work on.
Well, let me ask you then. So
Yeah.
when you direct, obviously you have to do some casting. What are some things that you look for when local talent applies and tries to, cast for something you're doing? And what are some things that you avoid?
I'm a weird caster. Like I'm just a weird guy in general, but the way that I cast is I usually cast actors who understand the characters, but I don't do like all these rigorous callbacks. You'll get on a picture as an actor myself, I hate it. And I think a lot of other actors hate it. You'll get called back first time and then you'll read to a director or casting director and they'll be like, okay, thanks for coming in. They might call you back and they might have another actor there for what's called a chemistry reading. See if you work well with this guy, and they'll call you back 5 or 6 times only not to cast you in the flipping movie. So what I usually do is I usually have actors send in a self-tape. I pick the self-tape that I like. And then from there, I kind of have like an interview with them. The interview is like the callback almost, like kind of telling them like, here's the character, here's the story, here's kind of what I'm looking for. And if I get an actor or an actress who's like, wow, that's really interesting and asks a lot of questions, or sometimes even an actor who's like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll do it. But if I get a lot of, yeah, yeah, right, yeah, right, I gotta go. Then I'm like, all right, they're not interested. So I look for actors that I know that can play with me, that want to have, that see the fun in what we're doing, and also understand what I'm trying to do, trying to be on the same page with me as a filmmaker, because an actor and director is essentially a collaboration. It's not my vision, it's not your vision, it's our vision. You know what I mean? Communism. And it's one of those things where it's, we're both trying to get on the same page. So if you can get on the same page with me with what I'm trying to tell, the story that I'm trying to tell, then cool. And I don't know, I guess that's how I go about it. I go about it more like an interview process, but like a laid back conversation. I don't usually make them come in and read and, do all that chemistry bullshit. I like to know a person personally, deep down inside, like who they really are.
I've mentioned before, that's like a big part of my process. That's why I like to use the same people time and time again, because
I do too.
Every time you use somebody again, you're going to get a better performance than you did the last time.
Yeah.
And you know them, you know that they're going to be reliable. They're going to show up, and that helps out so much. When I cast, I guess I'm kind of similar too. So that's what I do. I ask for an audition tape right off the bat. And I guess one tip that I would give to anybody that's like younger and starting out and doing like their first few auditions, yes, it's important to hit the lines and hit the lines good, but it's also important to have silence in beats and looks where you're not just doing action too. I feel like when I get something from somebody that's new into acting, their audition is very rushed. Like a lot of times they'll put a lot of effort into it, but it's line, cut, line, cut, line, cut.
Yeah.
Let it breathe a little bit. Take a second, give an inflection, give a look, give a pause before you deliver that line. We won't hold that against you. In fact, it's something that I know I look for often.
Oh, yeah, I do too, yeah.
You're not talking the entire time you're up on screen, so...
Well, I always tell people too, I say, lines are not acting. Speaking is not acting. What's acting is a look. What's acting is a mannerism. What's acting is a feeling. You know, you can say just as much with a glance as you can, you know, a powerful monologue.
Sometimes you can say way more with the
yeah,
right?
that's right. I mean, Lover Girl has no dialogue in it. Lover Girl has not one, you know, the other film that I sent you that has no dialogue whatsoever. And I feel like there's a cascade of emotions going on in that movie. And sometimes even myself as an actor and as a director, what I'll do on some of my film sets is I'll actually cut dialogue. I'll be like, you know what? No, we don't need this. You know, we don't need this giant monologue. Just look at him or just look at her. And that's it. And that's all you need to do. I feel like in film, especially in indie film. Oh, what's this? Oh, I got a bunch of receipts in my pocket. Anyways, I feel like in film, especially indie film, breathing is wicked underrated. Wicked underrated. I feel like nobody breathes anymore. What you'll see is a lot of, listen here, Tom, I've been working for you for 15 years, and I'm really sick of the way that you've been treating me, and they try to get it all out in one breath. But there's nothing wrong with starting a scene and just looking at somebody and being like, you know, Tom, I've been, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's more impactful than, you know, this isn't fucking theater, man, you know? And, I just feel like a lot of actors don't really understand it. And even to a certain extent, me as an actor, I kind of don't understand it because you'll always hear a director say like, you know, faster, 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 you know. I don't even know what that means when a director says that. I'm like, what do you mean faster? Like, but I feel like slowing the pace down in a scene, taking your time, having a scene really breathe, that does way more than an actor might think. An actor might think of it more like radio, like it's dead air, but it's not. It's not. I love it when I see a movie like that. What about you?
No, same thing. One of my favorite movies ever is Hereditary, and people are like, nothing happens, it's slow. I'm like,
oh, that's the point, man.
Like, not all that. Everything happens if you're watching
movie.
it and you're looking at the stuff in the background and you're seeing what happens. Like, I think it's a masterpiece, and people are like, no, it's boring. I'm like,
no, man.
Listen, you know, it's
idiots.
What I think is crazy is, like, to me, one of the most terrifying, greatest movies ever made is the original Exorcist.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it's like,
freaking.
When Reagan walks down the stairs and has that incident in the living room, by then, like, yeah, okay, not a lot of actions happen, but you care about the family. You're invested. So when that moment happens, like, it doesn't sit right with you. And then from that moment on, everything just gets exponentially worse, but you're vested in the family, so you care. That's why this rom-com I've been working on, it's like, my goodness, you got to make everybody like hooked into the characters and care about everybody in such a short period of time. Like, I'm struggling with trying to make it like a short film. I mean,
some stories aren't, my dude. That's the thing, dude. Some stories are just not built for short films. And you know what? Vice versa. Some films are not meant to be features. I've seen some long indie films where I'm like, that could have been 20 minutes. That could have been 10 minutes. But I've seen some 10-minute films where I'm like, wait a minute, man, that could have been, you know, that should have been 90 minutes. That should have been, you know, way longer.
Yeah, you want to always leave the viewer wanting more, not feeling that they got too much. And it's funny, you brought it up. Like, I've only done short films. I actually haven't shot a feature yet. If I ever do, it's going to be the Scarecrow, and that's going to be my 100%. But like I said, right now, I'm trying to do a few things. I'm trying to, number one, build my team out. Number two, let people know that I'm out here too. I mean, like I said, I got a Zoom F6 sitting there. I got the Sennheiser MKH416 here. I got the NTG 4 Plus right there. Like, I'll run a vest and run audio if that's what I need to do to
man, you got a pro edit camera? Is that what that is?
But it's like, I'm willing to put myself out there. I just want to meet more people, make more connections and stuff. And it's like, if I can get to that point, because like the problem is working like a regular job, if you want to shoot a feature film, like, we've got like 12 to 14 days to do it. And most likely you're not taking that time straight off from work, because then you have to pay other people to do this. And it just gets outrageous. So it's like, if you're going to shoot a feature, listen, if you have another way, I would love to see this in the comments, or I'd love to hear what you think about this. But if I were to shoot a feature film, the only way that I could see feasibly doing it is like 10 to 12 consecutive weekends.
Yeah.
Everybody blocks off their schedule from Friday night into Sunday night. You guys just shoot and try to get everything you can. But like, I think there's a few problems that happen with that, right? Like, number one, when you put too much effort or you grind too hard on something like that, it can take away the fun, right? Once it turns that corner on, you know, the fifth night where it's like you've got a headache because you've been doing these lines and you know you've got 6 more pages to shoot, and if it that sucks. Like, I don't know if I want to even sign up for that just yet. I mean, I'd be curious. So you've shot feature films, so I mean, what's your thought on that?
I mean, when we were shooting feature films, or when we were making feature films, with the exception of like the last one that I did, which became pretty much like almost like a year of shooting. We were all students, so like we were all kind of unemployed. We kind of had nothing to do. So like Monday through Saturday, we would just get together and we'd shoot 3 scenes in a day and then get together the next day. We'd sleep over like a friend's house and then get up the next day and use that friend's house and shoot, 3 more pages. We definitely did it in a very, I don't know if this is the right word, grizzled, kind of rough.
Guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, but like wicked guerrilla filmmaking. Like, like we have to wait for the footage for the film to come back from the lab. That's basically like when our breaks would happen, is like, okay, we ran out of film. We have to, go get new film, or we have to take this film back to the lab and then get it developed and hope it doesn't come back burnt or white or whatever the fuck. So when we were doing it, we were kind of unemployed, so we had the benefit of that. Like, we could get together like all week and just shoot whenever, because we were students. That was our job. Well, some of us, it was our job. But the way that I'm trying to do this, the way I'm trying to do this feature now, again, I don't know if it's the dumbest way. I don't know if it's the smartest way, but it's like the only way that I know how to do it is it's the stop and start, man. You start for a little bit and you stop and take a little bit break, take like a week break, and go back to it the next weekend. You know what I mean? And then, stop and then take another break, get more money, blah, 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 get time for actors to collect themselves and then start again. Sometimes that's a bit of a bitch. Sometimes it's beneficial, I feel like rushing it sometimes, getting like, okay, 12 days, got to do it now. You can make mistakes with rushing it. And like, you really can. But the benefit, I guess, of that is that, the actors have blocked off their schedule and that's all they're doing. You know what I mean? And so you don't have to worry about actors changing their hair or, having to get another role and grow a mustache, or having to, whatever, just change the way they look. And I guess what's beneficial of the stop and start is that with the stop and start, you are able to kind of take your time with it. You just don't take too long, because again, what might happen is an actor might do another movie, dye their hair, grow a mustache, and then it's like, oh man, you're fucked. You got to figure a way around that, you know what I mean? But I don't think there's anything wrong with really taking your time with making a feature film. I really don't see the absolute rush of it. You don't want to take too long. You know what I mean? Some people, they spend forever in pre-production to the point where their whole film becomes pre-production. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer, and I don't think there's really a wrong answer for how to make a film. I think it really all depends on how you feel as a director. Some people out there will probably say that I'm 100% wrong. They might be like, no, Salvi, there is a way to make a film, and this is how you do it, and blah, blah, blah. I just know I've been in multiple feature films, and I've seen people do it different ways. The only way that I've seen that doesn't work is when you don't make your film. That's when it 100% doesn't work. When you keep on talking about it and you don't go out there and you don't take action, you don't grab it by the ass or grab it by the balls and just make your fucking movie. That's the only time it really doesn't work. It'll still work if you fuck it up. It just might not be a good movie. You know what I mean? But, hey, you fucking did it. You live, you learn. If you did the stop and start and it didn't work for you, maybe do the 12 days. All right, we got 12 days to shoot this fucking movie. Let's do it. See if that's beneficial for you. You know?
You kind of hit the nail on the head. I think it comes down to individuals because it matters on who the people around you and what they're capable of, because we can't do this ourselves. Like I try to do so many aspects of this myself, and every time I do, I realized I dropped the ball in some other area because I didn't have enough, mental capacity to put into it. So I definitely understand that. It's
you have to go at your own pace, man. You
do, yeah.
You can get really burnt. I've known some filmmakers, fantastic, brilliant filmmakers from here and in LA and New York City and stuff. They killed themselves, man. They burnt themselves out, dude. They would make 3-4 features a year, dude, but they would just, the whole time, it would just be, all right, 12 days. Every day is 12. Every film that I make is 12 days. Yeah. This 110-page screenplay, 12 days. Yeah. This next film, which is 210 pages, fucking 12 days. You're shooting 10 scenes a day. That's wearing your cast out. That's wearing your crew out. That's wearing you out.
And it takes away your creativity. Like one of the things that I love most on set is it's like, we don't have a big enough budget. We're not designing the set, so I don't know what everything's going to look like. So when we get there, one of the things I like the most is getting to walk around and like, I don't even take a camera at first because now I've been behind my camera so much. I know exactly like what.
Sure.
And I just walk around and I just look and I feel things out. When you're shooting a schedule that tight, you don't get to do that. You're like, no, did that come out horrible? Nope. All right, we're moving on.
All right, we're moving on. Yeah. Or even like, did it come out horrible? Oh, it did. Okay, we're moving on. We don't have time. We don't have time. We're moving on.
Exactly.
You get the old, we'll fix it in post. Wink, wink.
That's why I keep coming down to where I'm like, I keep pushing for these like bigger projects, but I'm like, or I could do more day-long projects. And I think I'm going to start writing some more shorter stuff because it's going to let me make more connections with other filmmakers, other actors, other audio people and stuff. And again, once I get my team to where I want, then I would consider biting off a bigger project or doing something a little bit more with that. But, for right now, again, it's like I've had fun starting the podcast. I think I'm already starting to make more connections. I'm super glad to have you on and stuff.
I'm glad to be here, man. Man.
Well, it's invaluable too. Cause again, like people, listen, is this going to be a little bit longer and a little bit slower form content? Yeah, it's an hour-long podcast. But like, if you really care about the film industry and you want to learn like, what are people out there that are casting thinking? What are people out there that are putting on film festivals thinking? Like, one thing we didn't talk about that I do want to ask you about, we talked a little bit about your acting and your process behind that. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about your directing and your process behind that. But what about your writing? When it starts for you, do you start with like a visual? Do you start like how? Is it a scene? Is it an idea? Like where do you, from conception to the point of where you're getting ready to shoot, how's your process work?
It really is different each time. I sometimes start with a scene in my head and I'll try to figure out if it's a captivating enough scene. I'll be like, where does this scene go in a movie? Does it go in the beginning? Does it go in the end? Does it go in the middle? Does it go somewhere in between? Is it the second to opening scene? Is it the second to the closing scene? What is it? And sometimes I'll write a whole screenplay just based on that one visual. And where do we take that, and try to build a story around that by trying to figure out like, hey, how did this person get to where they are in the story? Like I had a story once, it started with a guy, I just saw the image of a guy bleeding out in a snowstorm behind a trash can, and he was monologuing in his, he was having a voiceover. He was monologuing in his head about the myth that blood is really blue. I don't know if you know this, but there's a myth that blood is really blue.
Well, until it hits oxygen.
Yeah, but like when it hits the air, it becomes red or whatever. And he was like talking about that myth, and he was just monologuing about that. And then one of his last words, or one of the last things he says is like, please don't let my last thoughts be what color blood is. And I was like, wow, that's a kick-ass scene. I think that's a cool scene. I think it's cool. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was cool. And I was like, where does that go in a story? Okay, there's snow. There's a guy bleeding out. Maybe there's a blizzard. Okay, there's a blizzard. Why is he bleeding out? Maybe he got shot. Why did he get shot? Maybe he's a cop. Maybe he's not just a cop. Maybe he's a renegade cop. Maybe he's not only a renegade cop, maybe he's the most violent, corrupt, most amoral cop on the force, and he got shot because of A, B, and C. You know what I mean? And from there, I'll build a story. But other times, shit, man, I'll see something in real life. A lot of my scripts and a lot of my ideas and a lot of my characters come from people I know. I'll see a fight, or I'll hear a conversation, or I'll know somebody, and I'll be like, that has to go in a movie. That has to go in a movie. And from there, I kind of build a small outline. And then from the outline, I'll start a first draft, and I'll just keep rewriting. Writing is rewriting. You know what I mean? Kind of like how acting is reacting, writing is rewriting. You have to rewrite, you know. It's very rare where you write something that's a first draft and go, hell yeah, we're going to shoot that. So my process with writing, and music too. Huge music, you know, huge audio file. I listen to music all the time. Sometimes I don't even think, this is going to sound stupid, but I don't think of my films as films. I think of them as albums.
When I watched your 2 short films, literally, I thought of that same thing. I'm like, it was just as much about the music as it was about the story or anything else. I noticed that right up and down your work.
Yeah, and sometimes that, you know, people might hear that and go, well, shit, man, you're not a real filmmaker. But who's a real filmmaker? You know what I mean? Like, who is a real, actual filmmaker? You know what I mean? There's people out there there's directors and then there's filmmakers. You know what I'm saying?
The other thing, everybody gets weird about the word content. Everybody's like, well, I make content.
This is content.
A short film's a content. Like, why is content a bad word all of a sudden out here? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like cinema's becoming a bad word. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't make cinema. I make films. Like, what the fuck's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, what? I've spoken to a couple of directors, and they're like, oh yeah, man, I don't make films. I make cinema. And I'm like, literally, dude, what is the difference? They're like, I don't like that word. I don't like that word film. I don't like that word cinema.
Yeah, we don't use film anymore.
Yeah. I don't like the word, you know, fuck, dude. Some of my films have a Kris Salvi picture you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck uses the word picture anymore? But I mean, a lot of my films, filmmakers might scoff at that and go, well, he should just be making albums. He shouldn't be making films. But I feel like films, more than anything, are kind of, they're more like feelings. Mm-hmm. Films are supposed to make you feel. Supposed to make you feel happy, sad, alone, scared, afraid, horny, you know, mad, you know, all these things. You know, that's when a film does a good job. More so than just, here's a really basic, interesting story that I would like to tell you. Like, fucking read a book then, you know what I mean? But the visual medium, that's what filmmaking is. It's a visual medium. And I feel like if you have a good story, you're at a head start, you know what I mean? But some films are not about story. Some films are about character, you know what I mean? And from the character, then you build a good story. Mm-hmm. So, I'll listen to a piece of music, I'll hear a piece of music, and I'll go, whoa, that needs to start a movie, or that needs to end a movie. Or this piece of music made me cry and made me feel something. I would like to make something that accompanies this piece of music. You know what I mean?
I feel like I have kind of a similar style. I'll get like an idea. I usually get a scene or just like one flash of something that'll start, you know, my madness, I guess. And then I'm like, to your point, like, well, what got him there? What got her there? Like, what led up to this? And then I start snowballing. Then I start thinking about setting and, you know, where could this work? Where could this work better? And then to your point, one of the next things I do is I start a playlist. You know, I'll jump on Spotify, I label it whatever, and I just start throwing music in that I can write to and kind of get into that flow because, again, like, music is such a big part. Like I've said it before, like the sound truly, like when you become a filmmaker, you become a sound designer is more important than being a filmmaker. The audio is such a big deal.
Bad sound will ruin a movie more than bad visual will.
100%.
Yeah. Like, you know, there are plenty of movies. If you watch Dirty Harry, there's a scene in Dirty Harry where Dirty Harry creeps into an alleyway, and this is kind of a lost art in film. He disappears. You can't see him. You don't know what's going on. You have no clue. It's just all black, and especially because they're filming with film with, you know, at nighttime with barely any lighting. You can't see anything. But you know what you can see? Or more so what you can hear is you can hear him going over trash cans and, you know, jumping onto the, you know, egg crates or the boxes and trying to jump over the alley, trying to jump over the fence into the next alley. So your mind becomes the movie. Your imagination becomes the movie. You can visualize it. If all you're hearing through a movie is just, and then Johnny, he told me that you know, if it starts sounding like a, you know, Max Payne radio, you know, and, you know, cutting in and out during a blizzard, it's going to take away. I can see what's happening. These people are having a conversation, but what the fuck are they having a conversation about?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the important thing. Sound, people. I don't know a goddamn thing. I don't know anything about anything. I really don't. I really don't even know why I'm here, other than Josh is a good man.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well,
I'm trying.
He's a better than most man, but he's a good dude. He's a good filmmaker. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about when I say get good sound. So many filmmakers chip on the sound. They cheap out on the sound. They do. They don't do good sound. Look, man, I've been there. I've done it. You know what I mean? In some of my earlier films, I was like, fucking, you know, who fucking cares? Fucking sound, and sound's not important. You know, nobody cares, you know. So what if you got a little in there during a really pivotal part of the, you know, movie, you know? But now I realize that it's not only essential, it's the second most important thing when making a film is the sound. And I'm even thinking about at this point getting 2 sound people on my film set instead of 1, you know, to record dual audio.
That's why I actually bought the NTG4. I wasn't going to buy another MKH416, but I've got Sennheiser wirelesses too. So now when I do 2 people, I can have them boomed and I can have them wirelessly mic'd too. So then when I start mixing the audio and post, I can just get more overhead out of it too.
Yeah.
I'll use the lav to get more of the bass. I'll use the shotgun mics to get more of the high end stuff. But like I said, sound, I mean, it's not even just the music too. I'll start pulling sound effects and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, I'm a firm believer. Like I've got a buddy that I work with. His name's Matt, very talented writer. He doesn't do any film stuff. He just likes write fantasy and stuff.
Sure.
And he's so hard on himself. He thinks nothing's good enough to put down on paper. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, Matt, and you basically said this yourself, like you've got to get it down. You get something on the page. Nobody does it great the first time.
Oh,
but once it's
nobody.
on the paper, or now it's the screen, but once it's on the screen, it's real, it's tangible. You have something to build off, something to grow, somewhere to go, something to work off. But when it's just an idea kicking around in your brain, quite frankly, it's nothing. But the second you get it on the paper, it's real and you can work on it. So if you're a writer out there, or if you're thinking about writing, or you're writing a screenplay, who cares how bad the first draft is? Knowing what you don't want is just as important as knowing what you want sometimes.
That's right. It is.
So
absolutely.
Pull out your paper, pen, get on your, whether it's final draft, whatever.
Celtex, you know, writer duet, you know, whatever. Get a pen, get a piece of paper. Fucking, that's it, man. I remember the days when that was that. I had a Smith Corona. I'm be surprised if anyone knows what a Smith Corona is. Try writing a screenplay on a Smith Corona on a typewriter. I had one of those. Yeah. But another thing too is, again, to the 2 people out there listening to me personally, this is going to sound messed up, but I'm telling you, it helps. I feel like a lot of filmmakers. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's as simple as that. Nobody will ever care about your film or my film as much as you or me. Nobody. No, not one person. If anybody says that they do, they're lying. They're just not telling the truth. Nobody will ever care about your film as much as you. Now, that might sound like, oh, well, I'm definitely not going to make a film now, but it's actually good because you have nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose by making your first film. It's all about the execution of it. You know what I mean? We all get in a car, we all drive. We all say, I can drive this car. I can ride this bike. I can hop this hill. I can, whatever. We all have to try it. If we don't try it, we'll never know. So because nobody really cares, and because you don't have to worry about, oh, these people, the audience, they might think and blah, blah. Don't let that consume you with making a movie. Don't let it consume you with making your first film. You want the audience to know. You want to make a good movie that people will follow with you. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, I make films for me. Everybody else is invited. I make films that I want to see, but I know that there's an audience out there. There's another wacko out there like Kris Salvi. There's a couple of wackos out there like Kris Salvi that do want to see these films. And so I make the films for those wackos. Yeah. But that's making a film for an audience. But they're never going to care about the time you put in, about the sweat you put in, about anything. They're never going to care as much as you. So when you have nothing to lose and you think like that, then go and make your movie. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
No, it does.
I know it sounds awful. I know it sounds like kind of like almost bitter and jaded, but I mean it in the nicest way, that nobody cares as much as you do. And it will always be like that.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if you're Steven Spielberg. I don't care what Steven Spielberg does, how much hours and shit he puts in. I just want to see the movie. You know what I mean? I just want to watch the movie as an audience member. I just want to watch the movie. I don't care. You know what I mean? You think I care more about Saving Private Ryan than he does? You think I care more about fucking La Samurai than Jean-Pierre Melville or Breathless than Jean? No, of course not. They'll always care. And that's what made them, I feel like, go out and make the films that they made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do. Well, I think, you kind of brought it up. It's like you set off on this endeavor to tell a story. You start the writing process. I'm somebody, I get my ideas, but I'm a firm believer that when you hit the right zone and you're just typing and writing and stuff's coming out, the story will tell you what it's supposed to be sometimes.
Oh, yeah, the story will write itself.
That's exactly it. So it's like, again, maybe the first draft, it's not perfect, but you take the things that you like and you then you continue to build off of those. And it's like, that's the beauty in it. And I don't know about you, but literally I will change and work on my scripts up until we are pressing record that moment on scene.
And why shouldn't you?
Yeah.
Some major productions don't even have a script. Yeah. Sometimes they're literally writing the screenplay as they're filming. Is that the best business model? Maybe not, but it is done. It happens. People do it, and sometimes they come out with a pretty good movie. The Godfather, Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola were writing as they were going. Yeah. Same thing with Godfather 2. Al Pacino was not happy with some of his scenes, so they had to go and do a bunch of rewrites. Sometimes you do it. Kubrick was rewriting and writing on the set of The Shining. There's videos of him with his fucking little typewriter there, being a madman. Nice. There's nothing wrong with that, man. The script is, again, radical way of thinking, renegade way of thinking, maybe not the most mainstream way of thinking, but, the script is not the Bible. It's not scripture. Change whatever. You know what I mean? If an actor has a better line or improvises a line, let him do it. You might think of something better than what you wrote yesterday. Or I don't know if this has ever happened to you. Ever looked at one of your scripts on set and just been like, you know what? This sucks. This sucks. This is bad. What are we doing? Why are we here?
What I find myself doing is I put too much words, too much dialogue. I think I'm so clever when I sit down. And then when I'm on set and I'm hearing it, I'm like, why? I don't need all, there's 2 lines that need to come out and I put 6.
It's just amazing too how I feel like how ignorant we are as filmmakers and creatives that we are under the assumption that we can make a movie. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what you have to be. You have to be crazy enough to think that I will go out and make a movie. I will grab 10 people, 5 people, 12 people, 80 people, and I will go out and I will make a film. You realize how fucking nuts that is? Like,
you know
really think about it.
What's crazier about that is any major movie that, if you're watching this, any movie that you've seen that's been on television, typically the catering staff has more people on it than our entire production.
Than our filmography. If you put all the crew together from our filmography, the catering staff on a big Hollywood movie is much bigger.
Yeah. You know,
and they're serving steak and lobster. You know, they're serving fucking curly fries and giant burgers and all that shit. Just think about how insane it is, like, to make a movie, all that time, all that money, all that, you know what I mean? But you have to be, and maybe this is an issue with why enough shit doesn't get made by filmmakers. I think there's 2 issues. One, maybe there's just not enough crazy fucking people out there.
There's enough crazy people out there. I was on the ambulance for 15 years. There's enough.
You think there's enough? Are they making
maybe
films,
not the right
though?
crazy. They're not the right crazy.
That's the thing. But are they making movies?
No.
Are they here? Yeah. You know, that's the thing. Are they crazy cinematically? Are they crazy artistically? And another thing too is this weird, strange myth about money that somebody is going to hand you $50,000 to make your first short. If you're using $50,000 to make your first short film, you need to go to jail. That's like fraud. That's fucking insane. That's fucking nuts. And again, we've all done it. We've all spent $8,000, $9,000. I mean, I don't know how much money over the years I've wasted just making my short films. I really shouldn't say wasted, but, you know, invested making my films when I could have used that. I could have used that money to make a feature. You know, I could have used that money to make a bigger film than this 9-minute, 10-minute, whatever. I mean, I feel like my short films kind of run a little long anyways, but you just think about that. But there is these group of people that will be like, okay, I need $20,000 to make my 5-minute.
That's crazy. Yeah. No, I'm shoestring budget. Try to use the gear to the max that you can. Try to use people, locations to the max you can, and just make the best thing you possibly can.
Yeah. And this, again, too, this is like, you know, we're talking to people that are just starting out, you know, or people that just haven't made a film in a really long time.
Well, if there's people that know what they're doing, they're not listening to you.
No. They've shut this off. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, they're like, okay, oh, it's Salvi again? Oh, all right, whatever, fuck him. But, you know, that's the thing. I feel like I like newer filmmakers. There's a filmmaker that I want to shout out. He's a good dude. His name is Jason Lake. He made a movie called Mother's Grimm. Some of the shit that he did in this movie I know he says that this is his first film, but it's really not his first film. You know, that guy was probably making films for years. You know what I mean? And this is just his first real, actual, I feel like, debut. And if I'm wrong, Jason, you can yell at me. But this guy was able to make this gothic fairy tale horror-ish movie in black and white that is almost borderline German expressionism using, I feel like, just what was available to him at the time. You know, like, there was an effect in the movie that was kind of like, it looked like a spiral. It almost kind of looked like a dream catcher, like over the actors' faces. And I remember somebody asked him at a premiere how he got that effect. And I think he said he put a cookie in front of the lens. Guy is out there making pure mad cinema with a cookie. What the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Why are you on your ass? And there's so many people, as you know, on their ass. Just okay, one day.
Well, I said it in the first one, like, if you're crazy enough and you want this as bad as I do in the way that I want, I'm still trying to build up the crew. I'm still trying to get things right and settled, because I think, again, I don't plan on ever, like, making a crew to, like, make money or turn things out. But again, like, you know, you had said it. I almost said something, but you had caught it, where it's like, you didn't waste money on what you did. You invested into, like, the moments. Again, like, I said it before, and it's going to sound cheesy, but, like, when your life flashes before your eyes, when you take your last breath, I was in the ambulance for a long time, and I saw a lot of people at the end of their lives, and not one time did one person ever be like, let me tell you about this boat I
Movie,
had.
yeah,
They didn't care about that shit. They were like, let me tell you about this band that I had. Or, it was
or I didn't tour enough, or like, I didn't create enough. I didn't,
you're not going to think about the extra hours you put into work. Like, you're going to miss your mom's smile or your best friend you're going to miss those things. And it's like, when I'm on set, I don't know. It's like, I get to connect with people in a different way. And it's like, creating art, like, it's weird. Like, not that this is the same thing at all, but like, on the ambulance, like, you trauma bond with people, right? You go through something crazy like that, like, you get a different connection through trauma. I swear to God, I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but there's like a filmmaking bond when you've gone through the blood, sweat, the tears. It's not trauma. It's like it's super awesome.
I look at everybody with respect when they've made a film. Even if they've made bad films, I look at them and go, well, fucking hey, dude, at least you did it. That's better than the kid who's been talking about his short film for the past 5-6 years who hasn't made a damn thing. You know what I mean? I mean, when you're in this, I always say too that, like, I try not to have an ego about what we do, but the work that we do has a massive ego and we need to feed it constantly. The work has an ego. I don't take myself seriously. I take the work seriously. And, you kind of have to be serious about being a filmmaker or being an actor or just being involved in making films. You know what I mean? You have to kind of take it seriously. You don't have to take yourself seriously. But yeah, there is a bond. There is, I feel like, a camaraderie there with other filmmakers. And I always find it weird. I end up wanting to talk to a lot of filmmakers about their movies, and I get a lot of John Ford answers. John Ford made a lot of Westerns in the 40s and 50s. Whenever they asked him about his process, they're like, how'd you shoot that? And he's like, with a camera. You know what I mean? Like, and they were like, what brought you to LA? And he's like, a train. Like, I get a lot of responses sometimes like that with filmmakers where I'm like, what made you want to do this movie? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to do it. And sometimes the answer is, that simple. Yeah. But I always do want to talk to other filmmakers. And, that's what kind of encouraged me to watch your stuff. And we're like, what is Josh doing? What's he doing now? He seems like a cool dude. He seems like he kind of knows what he's doing. He's making interesting shit. There are a lot of filmmakers out there that make a lot of, whatever. But, there might be some filmmakers out there that might say the same about me. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, Salvi makes those weird art films now. And, he's better off making the crime dramas like he used to.
Well, I'll tell you, the saying that keeps kicking around my head these days is fortune favors the brave. Right? Do you know how many movies, like, I've talked about this about video games. Like, we've been playing the same video games for 30 years now. Like, how many movies start where teenagers go into the woods, right? Stuff has been done into the ground. Cinema's been around for over 100 years now. So it's like, yes, maybe your stuff's more abstract or expressionismist, however you want to word it, but like, you're doing something different. Like, and I think that's either going to pay off for you with like a production company or somebody seeing that you're doing something different, or at the end of your days, it's going to pay off because you're going to know you did your art. You didn't make something to try to be trendy, to try to hit the views because this is what was going off. Like,
you didn't use the buzzword movies. You didn't. I feel like filmmaking is a lot like acting. There's method acting and then there's method directing. And like, as an actor, you try not to play the same role, twice, even though I've done it, 10 times sometimes. But I feel like with directing, it's kind of the same thing. The only one you're competing with is yourself. At the end of the day, you're not trying to compete with another filmmaker out there or Hollywood. That's another thing. Filmmaker, stop competing with Hollywood. Stop trying. You're never going to do it. They have literally more money than God. Like, they get money from Saudi Arabia who deal guns to people in Beverly Hills. Like, you're never going to get that money. So stop competing with Hollywood. Don't do it. And don't compete with your fellow, filmmaker either. Compete with yourself. Try to find something different than what you've done. As an actor, we try to do, actors try to do that all the time. At least I try to do that, oh shit, I just played this role. I don't want to do it again. And with filmmaking, I feel like it's kind of the same thing. I just made this film that I was doing for a long time, at least from 2024 to 2025, like movies like Lover Girl and Call Me After Dark that are like, they're border semi expressionism, abstract, but they're in a world that is genre familiar, horror, noir. You know what I'm saying? There's yourself is the only one that you need to really compete with. You need to really think about, and you need to be, kind of in the heart and mind of your characters as much as your characters are in the heart and mind of them, as themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna round out this last thing, and then I'm gonna give you a chance to plug yourself so people can find out where to find you. But you really hit on something that's important. So anybody that's watching this, again, I would assume that you're probably a starting out filmmaker or somebody that's newer into it. If you're already established, you're probably not watching this.
Yeah.
If you are though, really, I want to encourage you. You made the joke earlier, I'm a weirdo, I do things a certain way. If you're watching this and you're thinking I'm a weirdo, I'd only do things a certain way, there's people out there that do things differently. It's, it may not be his style, but there's other people out there that do things differently. And it's you got to put yourself out there, find Facebook groups, find the things that, there's casting calls, there's backstage. There's a ton of stuff you can use.
It's Facebook, man. People are posting for free on Facebook, and it's
that's what I use the most.
And people are just hey man, I'm down, I'm DTF, I'm down to film. You know what I mean? I'm down to do this, I'm down to do that.
And go into it with the mindset of you're not gonna make a Hollywood blockbuster that's gonna be the most spectacular film you've ever made your first few times. But you're going to make connections and you're going to meet people. And to your point, that's what I really want to end this episode with. It is not about comparing yourself to anybody else's work. It's the same thing. If you're trying to work out and get in shape, you can't compare yourself to other people because you don't have their genetics, you don't have their diet. In this, you don't have their background, you don't have their story. It's not the same thing. The only thing that you can do is try to get better and better each time. And if you're progressing and you're liking what you're doing, you've won. Don't let anybody keeping up with the Joneses and tell you that your work's not good enough or it's not worth being made. I think now with AI looming over our heads, people are going to start craving for more of a human connection, whether it's weird, whether it's typical, people want that. And I think that's going to come back around. So I do agree with you, trying to compete with Hollywood you're not going to do it. We don't have the kind of money.
They've cut a fucking car in half just to put a camera in there. Try doing that with your car and get back to me. Tell me how well that goes. You know what I mean?
But you don't have to do that. I think by us being limited by our gear at times, it forces us to be more creative, right?
Well, that's what Orson Welles said, is that what did he say? Limiting, having a certain limit is the spawn of creativity.
I believe
so. Being limited is actually spawning creativity, and I feel like that's the one thing that maybe a lot of young filmmakers don't understand is they see money and they just want more of it. You know what I mean? But when you have no money, you kind of have to think outside the box and kind of have to think, what can I make that's just available to me? And I'm not going to be like those filmmakers that are like, oh, you can make a movie on your iPhone. They're just telling you that to ruin you because you're the competition. You're the next up and coming thing, and they don't want you to be the next up and coming thing. That's why they always say this bullshit about, hey man, here's the greatest camera. No, find a cameraman out there. God knows there's millions of them around here. They're all looking for a job. They're all looking for an opportunity. Josh right here is looking for an opportunity.
I'll run a camera.
Run a camera. Do whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like when you use what's around you, you start to get ideas. I have a house, I have a cat, I have my living room, I have an actor, I have all this space. What do I do with this space? I could make a liminal backrooms type of movie just with my living room. I could film it analog style. You know what I mean? The cat could be like a recurring character that's sort of like a guide that you have to follow through the back rooms. See, we just made a fucking movie right there. All we gotta do is just film it. That's it. Just don't get stuck within yourself. You know what I mean? Just don't get stuck within yourself. Don't worry about what everybody else is going to think. Don't even really worry about what you're going to think. Write your script. Take your camera. Get Josh. Just shoot your movie. Worry about everything else, later. Yeah. Have a sort of don't have a fix it and post mentality, but have I guess we'll say film it in post. You know what I mean? Film, I can film this, I can film that, I can do this, I can do that. I don't really know what filming in post means, but it sounds cool. Yeah. It sounds like it means something. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Kris from the Film Fest kind of said it. You make 3 movies. You have the movie that you write, the movie that you shoot, and then
the movie that you edit. Yeah, that's right. So it's like, you know, it's a lot like sex. You know, like the pre-production is the foreplay. You know what I mean? And the shooting is the actual sex act, and the editing is the pregnancy. And and then when you put the film out there, that's the birth. You know, and I'll tell you another thing too that I don't think a lot of filmmakers know. Once you make a film and once you put it out there, that ain't yours anymore, baby. That film is not yours. That now belongs to an audience. And an audience is going to do whatever the fuck they want with it. They'll love it. They'll hate it. They'll shit on it. They'll give it awards. They might not care. I feel like that's the worst thing that can happen to a filmmaker is indifference. Indifference is kind of like, that's what I'm scared of. Yeah. When somebody is just like, you know.
Because you're trying to get an emotion out of them.
Trying to get an emotion out of it. You know what I mean? I guess, you know, I don't know, man. You know, we don't have long for this world, man. Just the world needs more creativity. It needs more voices. It needs more younger filmmakers to come out there and say, I have something to say.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I
if
mean?
you're looking for a group of misfits and you've seen this podcast, well, then join our...
Look at me, man. Look at me. Look how slimy and greasy I look. I look like a used car salesman who's ready to sell you an ice cream cone in Antarctica. Look at me. And I was able to do this. I was able to do this. Somebody out there trusted me like an idiot. But, you know, I'm here. I'm here. Like, if I'm here, you know, anybody can be here. You know what I mean?
Well, Kris, if people want to find more information about you in Private Eyes Films. Yes, I got it right that time.
There you go, yeah.
Where can they go? So plug any upcoming projects you have and where the people can find you.
Okay, so where they can find me personally is behind the dumpster at Dippin' Donuts. No, but they can find me on Facebook. I'm just on Facebook as Kris Salvi. I don't use my Private Eyes Facebook my Private Eyes Facebook page a lot, so much more anymore. Follow me more on Insta, and that's private_films_. Private_eyes_films.
I'll link it in the description below too, so you can find it. Yep.
You can find me. I'm mostly posting on there these days. And you can also find me on Instagram as well, just as Christopher Salvi, my full name. That's Kristofer, not Pher. Salvi, Salvi. And that's it, you know. You can go on YouTube. Private Eyes Films has a YouTube channel. Just look up Rick Silvas, RIKSILVAS. That's an anagram for Kris Salvi, because I got in trouble once. I got confused with another actor, so I had to change it to Rick Silvas. And yeah, I give a long-winded answer, but that's
I'll take it.
That's the answer.
Kris, thanks for coming down, man.
Hey, man, this was a lot of fun, man. It was good.
Until next time, stay safe and stay creative.
Yeah. Booyah.